Dave along with Ms. Brooke with Simple Plan Trucking, and we're here at the Kenly 95. It's kind of the sister truck stop to Iowa 80, if any of you have been there. Very similar here in Kenly, North Carolina. We're on a load right now taking us down to Sarasota, Florida. We started somewhere up in where? New Hampshire, Vermont, something like that. New Hampshire. Picked up a load of lettuces, greens, that kind of thing. I think there's some taters on there. Speaking of which, we got a story we're going to tell you about a recent potato load that we did too. So just kind of a mismatch today, mosh posh, whatever you want to call it. We're going to talk about a couple of different things and just fill you in on where we've been and what's been going on. Brooke's in the back. She's going to drive next. I just finished my drive, brought us in here. She's going to take us down to about St. Mary's, Georgia this evening, and then I'll take us on into Sarasota. We'll get there an hour early for our 6 o'clock load and hopefully drop early, get a good load out of there. And hey, it's shaped up to be a great week for us. We had a long haul of apples from Washington State all the way over to where did we drop those apples off?
At Trader Joe's. All the way across.
Connecticut. Yeah, it was in Bloomfield, Connecticut. So great run. We did have some few issues yesterday, which we probably won't talk about right now with tires and that kind of thing. But
why won't we talk about it?
Because I don't like to talk about that kind of stuff sometimes. We'll cover it at a later date. So we're here, and so Brooke, how's it going? What are you thinking? We're on our third run right now. We're planning to stay out probably 6 weeks this time. You think 6 weeks is good?
I think 6 weeks is more than enough.
Right. I'd prefer to stay out 8 weeks, but again, I like to look at it as revenue. Our personal goal is we want to net $5,000 a week, meaning after all of our expenses are paid, $5,000 is on our settlement, and that includes our emergency fund, and I put $100 each onto our Comdata cards just so we have something easy that we can use for when we're jumping in and out of truck stops for food and drinks and that kind of thing. But $5,000 a week. Now I'll tell you, the first week we came out was a half week, so of course we didn't make it then. In fact, we were a little bit in the hole that first week, but we had run a load prior to coming home, so it wasn't quite so bad. Last week we did not meet our goal of $5,000, but we were short by about 1,000. But when I project to what we're going to do this week, we should even that out. We should make over 6,000 if everything comes in the way that it should. So it'll be a balance of 5,000 a week. So we're right on track for that. Once we get 6 weeks with that kind of money, we'll go on home and have another week of home time before we hit it again. So Brooke's going through some potatoes back here right now. You see that bin that she has? We'll go ahead and tell the potato story now because it's really funny.
This was full.
It was full of potatoes, and we had even more. So what happened was on our last run, we picked up a load of potatoes in Michigan, and they were bound for somewhere in Georgia, I believe. Norcross maybe, or wherever the Frito-Lay plant is down there. So I had already been told to be wary of potato loads for a couple different reasons, and after we tell you this story, you'll understand it, and hopefully you'll be wary as well before you take these loads. So first of all, we got up to Michigan, and it was beautiful up there, northern Michigan actually, almost into Canada, and we picked up at a family farm, potato farm up there, and we got there, and I had forgotten, but I was told that the way they load these potatoes in the truck is it's not in bags, it's not in boxes, it's not on pallets. They literally put your trailer, you back your trailer up and it's on a kind of a ramp, an inclined ramp, so the back of your trailer is up in the air, and they dump potatoes right into your truck, right on the floor. And they pretty much loaded us up as much as we could take. I want to say it was close to 80,000 pounds of potatoes. Huh?
We were right at the limit.
We were right at the limit, and so we got them loaded up, got them out of there, no problem. Drove them down to the 90 without incident. Nothing was wrong there. But we got to Frito-Lay, and as we were waiting to check in, actually to pull into a door, I talked with another real nice trucker. Apparently he comes there every day. He's a local driver, brings loads in every day, and he said he just real quickly said something about where to go for a washout. And he had an accent he's down there in Georgia, and I couldn't hear what he said, so I just like, oh yeah, okay, and I really wasn't paying attention, but I should have been. The way it works on the unload of the potatoes is they literally have you unhook from your trailer, and they have a machine. I think I have some pictures of this machine. I'm going to put them up so you can kind of conceptualize what it's like. But it picks your trailer up in the air, and it tilts it the other direction, and all of the potatoes dump out onto a conveyor belt, and they run up into the plant, and they process them into chips or whatever they're making with those potatoes. Again, no problem with that. That was all kind of cool. They didn't take real long doing it, longer than we like, but it was one of those things where the first time we were there, so we just kind of went with it, no problems. Now this is where the story gets kind of interesting. So we get back to the trailer. He called us on the phone and said, okay, it's done. You can come hook back up to your trailer. And so we did. And I hooked up the trailer. I pulled it away. I went back to close the doors, and there were a ton of potatoes still left in the trailer. And not only were they on the floor of the trailer, that would have been bad enough, but they were all wedged down in the grooves of the trailer, because they weren't on pallets or in boxes. The weight of the potatoes and driving actually, smashed them down into the grooves. So there were 2 or 3 places that were listed as potential washout locations to get these trailer cleaned up, because we had to get onto another load. And started checking out where they were, calling them. Only one of them we thought was even a reliable thing. The rest of them seemed like just an individual with a pressure washer kind of a thing, not a real, a place where you go every day, kind of like a mobile service. In fact, nobody answered the phone. So we drove to one of the locations, and of course, there was nobody there. In fact, it was just an empty field. So I'm thinking it was just a place where somebody came occasionally to do washouts. Couldn't get it done there. The other ones were 30, 40, or even more than an hour away, and no one answered the phone. So we weren't going to drive somewhere when we didn't even know, if it was a reliable business. No blue beacons anywhere close by, and nothing else close. So what ended up happening was we pulled the truck off the road on a side road, and we opened up the trailer, and Brooke and I got in the back of the trailer, and for literally 3 hours we were on our knees scraping those potatoes, using screwdrivers, whatever, getting them out of the wedges and sweeping them up and getting them out of the truck. And we had how many sacks? I think we were in plastic bags first, weren't we?
I used all of my plastic bags that I had, and I had at least 6, 7, 8. I had a box that we had left over from our potato chips that we bought at Sam's. We filled that entire box. I had 2 bags that were kind of dumpy potatoes that needed to go in the trash. We had a lot.
I want to say we had 6 bags or small boxes that we gave away. Plus this thing, right?
We ended up giving away 6 to 8 bags. We threw away 2 bags that were just like, they were junky because they got smushed or smashed or whatever. I gave a whole, David, we had almost like a dozen
so
It was a lot of potatoes. Perfectly good potatoes.
A couple of things. You have to wonder about the profitability of that. You know, on the sending side, the shipper probably said they shipped this many pounds of potatoes, and on the receiving side at Frito-Lay, I'm sure that I don't even know if they weighed them, but if they weighed what they sent, then it's going to be somewhat short, because I'll bet we had at least a couple 100 pounds of potatoes, wouldn't you guess?
After that we bagged up?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was a lot.
It was a lot. So
we gave away some to a guy who brought over like a shopping cart.
he found a shopping cart somewhere.
And we put 2 bags in the front and at least 4 or 5 bags in the cart.
So you have to imagine this. This was in a rougher part of town, right? It was really rough. People kept walking by and eyeballing us, and you kind of just feeling you were going to get jacked at any minute. But we never did. People were very nice. They came up and talked, and even a streetwalker came over and, well, she was. I mean, come on. She walked over and said, "What y'all got in there?" And I said, "Well, we got some potatoes. You want some?" "No, I don't want any potatoes. You need help load them?" I guess she wanted me to pay her to help put some in the bags or whatever. I said, "Nah, but we could give you a bag if you want them." She thought, "Nah, I don't want to."
She didn't know anybody who ate potatoes.
She didn't know anybody that ate potatoes. So she walked away, and then another gentleman came up, and he was very nice, and we asked him if he knew anybody that wanted some, and he thought about it for a minute.
He came up, asked us if we needed help, and I told him it was too late. We were already done scraping the potatoes. Where was he? Just 20, 30 minutes ago. And then we asked him if he wanted them, and he said he's going to be right back. And he came back like 10 minutes later, just as we were about to give up on him. And he came back with that shopping cart, and we filled it up with potatoes.
Which was great, because we had no room for them. We didn't know what. We were looking for churches around where we could leave bags of potatoes on the doors.
We have to donate these somewhere. They're just perfectly good potatoes. We need a shelter or something.
So even still, we ended up with a container full of potatoes that we've been working our way through. In fact, Brooke's making
I still brought some to a church.
You did, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. What are you making today?
I am making, what is it, zuppa toscata? I don't know. It's like a copycat of the potato soup from Olive Garden.
Olive Garden potato soup, if you guys have tried it, zuppa. It's really good, and the potatoes were no cost to us. They were ones that we dug out of the back of the truck that would have been washed away had we taken them to a washout. And my understanding is that when you have to get a washout for potatoes, because of that reason, they charge a lot more money. So we saved the company money. We did the work ourselves. When I told my fleet manager what I was doing, he was like, "Oh my gosh, tell me when you're done, tell me how much time you spend doing that." So I don't know if he was planning to give us some money for that. I never saw it show up in the check, but hey, if you're watching, man, just a reminder. There was something.
You're going to have to post the pictures. I take some pictures.
Yeah, I'll put some pictures in. But it was great. So bottom line, new experience, just how they load the potatoes, how they unload the potatoes. Suggestion, recommendation, make sure if you ever take a potato load that you coordinate and know where your washout's going to be afterward. And for us, it was on a Sunday evening or something, and so nothing was open, and we were really in a rough place, so we had to do it ourselves. So we were hot, we were miserable, but we got her done, right?
We got it done. Yeah, I was impressed. Because when you first looked in there, I was like, "There's no way we'll never get this done."
Right.
So potato at a time.
Coming back from our next little story is coming back from Washington. We had a lot of time on the load, so we were able to stop in the Columbus area and do 2 things. One, we stayed overnight at a truck stop. I think I may have mentioned in my last video that my mom and dad have relocated up to Ohio, Columbus area, and we were able to stop and visit them. They picked us up at the truck stop, took us back to their place. My mom made us dinner, and then we came back, slept in the truck because we had Felix the Wonder Dog with us over here. He's snoozing. We had to be with him, and so we stayed on the truck that night, and the next morning drove back.
You skipped.
What?
You skipped what we did before that.
Well, we went to their house for dinner. Oh, I'm going to tell them that, yeah. So, and then, Yeah, so then the next morning we got up and we had breakfast with my mom and dad, my sister and brother-in-law. It was very nice.
A wonderful brunch.
Yeah, they made us a great
Totally
brunch.
felt spoiled.
So that's one of the great benefits of being over-the-road truckers. We're finding out that when you have family that lives all over the country, you really get the opportunity to visit with them more than you would if you lived in one location. And so we expect to stop and see those folks quite a bit. They live in a lane for us that we travel all the time. And we're always going through Columbus, so we hope to get back there again soon. And then the other really cool thing that we did was, let's see, this would have been Friday morning, I think. We arrived in Kidron, Ohio, and we were able to park the truck on the lot of Lehman's. And Lehman's is, it's really a hardware store, but what they are known for is they're kind of a superstore for homesteaders. They really value tools by hand, things that you can do without electricity. And so, superstore, huge place, lots of different things to look at. And we were there, and we were going to go anyway, but strangely enough, the night before we were checking out what was going on there, because they always have activities on the weekend. And another YouTube couple that we follow, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, they're big. They have nearly 1 million subscribers. They were at Lehman's that day that we were going, and they were doing a meet and greet, and then we're going to stay all weekend and be doing workshops on, how to be better prepared for things when they get rough, which again, they are getting rough. So make sure you have enough food, make sure you're set up with water. If nothing else, we need to be able to eat and drink and have shelter over our heads. So you never know how long this trucking journey will keep going on, and when things may be shut down for all of us. I hope that it's not, but make provisions at home, get some extra food set aside, do the best you can to be prepared for any eventuality. But Lehman's was great. I had wanted to take a bunch of pictures there. I think I have one that Brooke took, or somebody took of us outside the store. I'll post that so you can see where it is. But if you ever get a chance and you're in Kidron, Ohio, or close to Kidron, Ohio, check out Lehman's.
It's in Kidron, and they had parking in the back.
Yes, there's plenty of parking for you to truck.
Ahead, and they told us about it. So for like RVs and stuff, if you go behind the front entrance, if you go to the back of the building, there's a driveway to go through, and it's very easy to get your truck in and out back there.
That's right.
So you can go with your whole trailer and everything and pop in. But give yourself a little time to explore. It's really fun.
Yeah.
I mean, they have everything from like crafts to like wood stoves, like everything.
Yeah, just you have to eat, you have to have water, you have to have shelter. So that's really the things that
we're. You got 2 cookbooks from your favorite guy that you like to watch.
Yeah. One of my favorite YouTubers is Cowboy Kent Rollins. He cooks over an open fire, like with cast iron. He's a chuck wagon cook for cowboys, but he shows you how you can cook really easy with good wholesome foods. So he had a couple of cookbooks there that I picked up. I picked up another one on gardening, because again, we're planning to truck for about 5 years or so, and then we're going to go back to developing our homestead. We have 2.5 acres in north central Florida. We already have chickens, which we've also raised meat birds, which we processed, and we bought a bunch of beef. I'm trying to get set up now to go on an elk hunt. So if any of you from out west or somewhere, maybe in Utah, where you hunt elk and can hook me up on that, I'd love to come at some time and do an elk hunt and put that in my freezer as well. So we're working at it. Another thing that I'm working on is getting an alternate source of water. We do have well water, but with all the issues with electricity, you never know when the power could go out. Even short term, we need our power at least for our freezers so that our meat doesn't go bad, but also for water. You can have great water in a well, but if you don't have electricity, there's no way to pull it out of the ground. So Another thing that I'm going to do is buy a hand pump. And Florida has pretty shallow wells. I mean, the water table's much higher, closer to the ground because we're closer to sea level, right? And so we have the ability to hand dig our own wells, and I have the tools for that, and I'm planning to install a secondary shallow well on the property with a hand pump so that we'll be able to pull water up if we need it. So, like I said, we're going to talk more about homesteading things, being prepared things, and I'll share those things with you along the way as I do them, because it's one thing to say I want to do it. It's another thing for me to show you or tell you how to do it with the confidence of knowing that I did it myself, so I know that this works. But looking forward to our Harvest Right freeze dryer is coming in. We ordered that probably more than a month ago, but they were on back order, of course. And so once that arrives, we're going to start freeze drying food, both for long-term storage at home and also to bring it out here on the road. I could bring several pounds of ground beef, ground turkey, ground chicken, and then you just buy your veggies or whatever it is that you want to supplement to make your meals. Brooke's getting better with using the Instapot. I think that's what she's doing today, making this soup in it. So we're going to have some great zuppa, Olive Garden soup, potato soup here in just a little while. So we're getting close to time to leave. We got to get out of here pretty soon, so I'll wrap it up for right now. But
I'm telling my best part.
Which is that?
When I got pulled over.
Oh, yeah. That was another one of the stories that we wanted to talk about. So I think it's up here. I'll show you. Brooke got stopped for I believe it's a level 1 inspection. Whichever one is the more in-depth inspection. We were coming. Where were we? Where'd you get pulled over?
I don't know.
Oh, I know. It was in Montana. It was in Montana.
Seems so long ago.
Yeah, it was a few days back, and I was sleeping, but all of a sudden, Brooke looks through the curtain and says, "David, they're giving me an inspection. They're doing a level 1 inspection." And I was half asleep, and okay, no problem.
You didn't even come out and help me.
Well, I'm not allowed to, really, right? And then plus I wanted to see how she would do. I was listening to the whole thing. She handled herself like a pro. The guy looked at the logs. He got under the truck. He checked out the brakes. What else did he look at? Do you remember?
I don't know. He had me lift the hood. He had me, he checked all the stuff under there. We did a light check. He checked my tires. He had his little skateboard and he went underneath the truck and the trailer. And he had me, did like a brake check on all my brakes. He looked at my paperwork, of course, and he looked at my e-logs. He took both of our information. I can't remember what else, but he went thorough. So I felt lucky that we had just had a maintenance check-up or something we just did at...
Oh, we just had our inspection, our annual inspection.
Yeah, we had just had our truck inspected, and then luckily the trailer that we picked up was in good shape, because I know the last one we had before this was not in good shape. So anyway, I passed
the inspection. I felt like a parent with their kid that's at the school play, and I was standing off stage hoping she'd get her lines right, because I was literally behind the curtain listening to everything and like, okay, don't say this, don't say this. You always, those things can kind of go great or they can go not so great based on the answers to the questions that they give you. But just like all the time, I feel like the guy that was inspecting was completely talking to her differently than he would had I been the one getting the inspection.
He was just nice.
He was very nice, and you were respectful, but you are a woman, and I think that goes different.
Nothing to do with anything. If I had stuff wrong, he would have been all over it.
Okay, let us know, folks. Does that have something to do with it? Yeah, that's what I thought. I was
nice and I was respectful, and I take these...
Put that knife down.
I take these inspections as a learning curve. Like, if there's something wrong, like, it's my job to know that. And so I should have known it before he pointed it out to me if something was wrong. So I don't embrace getting pulled over and getting inspected, but when I do, like I said, I think it's a way for me to learn
I knew that there was a tube back there, but I didn't know there was paperwork about the trailer in there. So we both learned something. And so that's our third inspection. Brooks had 2 and I've had 1, and we passed all 3 of them so far. I'm sure
Do
at
your
some point,
pre-checks.
yeah, do your pre-checks, pre-trips,
Inspections, your
pre-trip
pre-trips.
inspections. I'm sure at some point you can't be right all the time. Sometime we'll be pulled over and they'll find something. But so far we're doing all right. We'll get a nice little $100 spiff on our check for that. So all things are good. Hey, we're loving it out here. We're making bank. We're seeing the country. We're seeing our family. It's wonderful.
Now tell them about that place that you didn't post the pictures for before.
Okay, Brooke wanted me to come back and tell you about the restaurant that I talked about in our last video, because I didn't post the pictures, and it was really kind of cool. It was a little English pub that was up in Michigan, in Gas City, Michigan. And what was the name of it, Brooke?
Called Paynes, P-A-Y-N-E-S.
P-A-Y-N-E-S. I had the fish and chips. She had the beef stew. We also had some soups, and we had some desserts, and it was just ended up to be a great experience. So
This was a wonderful surprise. Like I had said, I thought we were pulling off to go to Cracker Barrel, which we like to go to because they usually have somewhere to park your truck. And this place was right there, and David said, let's try this place. And it was really good. So if you have the chance and you're by there, and they have a big billboard sign on the highway, so you might catch it and remember, but it's worth stopping in. It's just something different than, what we're used to on the road.
that's right. So I'll put some pictures up for that too. Hey, the bacon's on. It's smelling good, so it won't be long till we eat. Plus, I need to get this lady behind the wheel so we can get on down the road. This is Captain Dave and Ms Brooke with Simple Plan Trucking.
And Felix, too.
And Felix. You all be good. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.